The morning started like any other. Second period, homeroom. But the air felt strange when Mori-sensei cleared his throat.
Class, I'd like to introduce someone. A transfer student will be joining our year. Please, treat her kindly.
The door opened, and she walked in. A girl with chestnut brown hair cut in a neat bob, her eyes lowered.
I glanced up, bored, then froze. There, tucked behind her ear, a small jade hairpin caught the light. A four-leaf clover, hand-carved, imperfect. I made that hairpin when I was 6. I gave it to Mayu, my twin sister.
A memory ripped open. A summer porch, a block of jade, a child's chisel. Mayu watching, eyes big. "It's for you," he said. Then the airport hall 10 years ago. Their mother pulling Mayu away. Tomoya standing frozen. A promise shouted through tears, "I'll come back." Then silence. 10 years of nothing. The teacher gestured. She bowed and gave a name that wasn't hers. Erica. The classroom clapped politely. Tomoya's hands stayed clenched.
The hairpin, the face, the eyes, they're my eyes. That's Mayu. But she's calling herself Erica. The girl who vanished from my life is standing 6 feet away, wearing my childhood promise and lying about her name.
The bell rang. Students shuffled out for break, but Tomoya barely heard it. He tracked that chestnut bob as she slipped through the back door.
She's not getting away. Not after 10 years of silence. I need to know why she's here. Why now?
He cornered her near the shoe lockers. The corridor was empty, the afternoon sun cutting sharp shadows between them.
Mayu? That's your name, not Erica. I recognized the hairpin the second you walked in.
It's me. I came back. Please keep your voice down. I can't let anyone find out yet.
Why the fake name? Why sneak into my school instead of just calling me?
I wanted to, but it's complicated. If the school finds out, I'll be sent back. I can't go back, Tomoya. Please, just give me a chance to explain. The rooftop after school. No one goes there. I'll tell you then.
I should demand answers now, but her eyes, they're scared, not guilty. Fine, she gets one chance.
He gave a short nod. She slipped away, footsteps echoing. Tomoya stood alone, the weight of a decade pressing down. Afternoon dragged. When the final bell rang, Tomoya climbed to the rooftop. The chain-link fence rattled under a gray sky. Mayu slipped through the door, breathless. Her uniform hung a bit loose, and dark circles traced under eyes he remembered as bright.
You look exhausted. Have you been eating? Never mind, start talking. Why are you using a fake identity?
I ran away. From Vancouver. Mom and I had a huge fight. She refused to let me come to Japan, so I borrowed a classmate's documents. I've been here for 3 weeks, alone. A room in a share house. I enrolled under her name because I had nowhere else to go.
What was the fight about? What could possibly make you run away and risk being arrested for fraud?
She wouldn't let me come back. Said it was for my own protection, but I couldn't stay there. I had to see you.
For her protection? That's not a reason. It's a wall. She's hiding something, but she's trembling and thinner than should be possible. Fine. I won't say anything to the school for now. But you will tell me the whole truth. Soon.
She nodded, tears brimming. Tomoya turned away toward the door, his chest tight. The secret was now his burden too. The next morning, Tomoya stared through the blackboard, his mind replaying the rooftop promise. Daichi elbowed him during math, a worried frown on his face. "You look like you saw a ghost. Seriously, what's going on?"
Just didn't sleep enough. Cram school prep. I'm fine.
The lie tasted bitter. He avoided Daichi's eyes, fixing his gaze on the desk. Then Yui leaned over from the next row.
Hey, has anyone told you and Erica have the exact same hair? And your eyes? It's weird, right?
Coincidence. Lots of people have brown hair. Don't make it weird.
A few classmates chuckled. Tomoya's gaze cut to Mayu. She'd gone pale, fingers frozen on her notebook.
You have to be more careful. If anyone connects the dots, this all falls apart.
She nodded, eyes hollow, and slipped away down the stairs.
That night, I pulled out a shoebox of old photos I hadn't touched in years. I held a creased picture of 2 6-year-olds, a green clover in her hair. 10 years of silence. I stared at it for hours, asking myself why she'd come back now, what drove her to risk everything.
A week passed, tense. Mayu flinched at any mention of family. At lunch, she barely ate, her eyes distant.
She's falling apart. I can't keep waiting for her to trust me. I need the truth.
After school, he followed her to a dilapidated building. Inside, the room was bare. 1 futon, cup noodles, no heater.
This is a cell. You said you had a place. Why are you living like this?
It's all I could afford. Please, don't look at me like I'm broken.
No more excuses. You promised me the truth. What drove you here?
Her composure shattered. She pulled a crumpled envelope from under the futon and thrust it at him. His father's handwriting. You're the only one who can save me. Your mother took everything. Come back to Japan, Mayu. I need you.
Father wrote that. To her. The man who raised me has been twisting my sister for years.
The letter trembled in his grip. The sister he just started to know carried a wound carved by their own father.
How long? How many letters, Mayu? Tell me the truth.
10 years. Every single month. He never let me forget.
She slid a shoebox across the bare floor, dozens of envelopes, all in his sharp handwriting. A small digital recorder rested on top.
He called, begged me to rescue him, said Mom took everything. I recorded some of the worst ones.
Did Mom know? Did she know he was poisoning you like this?
She found out years ago. She tried to protect me by keeping me in Vancouver, but he kept writing, kept calling. 2 months ago, I told her I was coming back to confront him face to face. She panicked. We had a brutal fight. I ran.
She didn't come back from me. She came as a weapon aimed at our own father.
Tomoya stared at the recorder. The man who taught him how to catch a baseball had been grooming his twin sister as an emotional hostage.
I'm going to expose him for what he is, but I can't do it alone. Tomoya, please, help me.
All those years, Father was warm to me, but every time Mom was mentioned, his eyes went dead. I never questioned it. He wanted you to hate her, to run back to him as a weapon against your own mother.
He almost succeeded. I used to blame Mom for the divorce. His letters fed that lie for years.
Why didn't you just call me? Why sneak into my school under a stranger's name?
I was terrified you'd be like him, that you'd tell me I was crazy and shut me out.
I almost became the brother who would have believed Father over her. The thought made me sick. I'm not him. I'll help you, but we need a plan, and we need to stop him before he hurts anyone else.
We don't have much time. The school will verify my documents. 2 weeks, maybe less.
2 weeks to bring down our own father. That's all we get.
The twins stood in the cold room, bound by a secret that would either break their family or rebuild it if they survived the next 14 days. They left the apartment after midnight. On the empty train platform, Tomoya voiced what they both knew. They couldn't do this alone.
Daichi. He's been my friend since first year. If we bring him in, he'll cover for us at school.
Another person means another risk. If Daichi slips, even accidentally.
The next afternoon, they cornered Daichi in the library between the tall shelves. He looked from Tomoya to Mayu and back, already suspicious.
You two have been weird all week. Tell me what's going on or I'm walking.
Erika is actually Mayu, my twin sister. She's in trouble. I need you to trust me and help keep her secret.
Your twin? The one in Vancouver? And she's here under a fake name? That's insane. Fine. I don't understand yet, but I've got your back. I won't breathe a word.
Yui passed by the library window. Through the glass, she saw the 3 of them huddled together, Tomoya, Erika, and Daichi. Her steps slowed.
Why is Tomoya always with the transfer girl? And now Daichi too. Something isn't right.
That night, in Tomoya's kitchen, the 3 spread the letters like evidence for a trial. Daichi stared at the stack, pale.
Mayu, it's Dad. I can't live like this. You're the only one who understands me. Come home to me.
His voice was so gentle, so deliberate. My hands shook. This wasn't loneliness. It was poison.
That's your father? Playing the victim for 10 years? That's not a parent. That's a predator.
They worked through the night, scanning each letter, labeling every recording. By dawn, the evidence against their father was irrefutable.
Tomoya, I saw you with Erika and Daichi. Are you two dating? Because it sure looks suspicious.
It's not like that. We're not dating. Just drop it, Yui.
You expect me to believe that? You've been glued to her since she arrived. Something's going on.
That afternoon, Mori-sensei caught Mayu in the corridor. His voice was calm, but the folder in his hand tightened.
Erika, I need to discuss your transfer documents. Some inconsistencies need clarification before the office proceeds further.
I need a day. My mother sent documents. I'll bring them Monday.
After school, the three huddled again. Tomoya's voice was steady. They couldn't wait for the school to act. Saturday was the only window.
I'll cover. I'll tell anyone asking that you're with me at the arcade. But be careful.
Sensei, I need to skip club Saturday. Family obligation.
That night, sleep refused to come. Tomoya sat on his bed, holding a photo from elementary sports day, his father's hand on his shoulder, both smiling.
Did he ever love me? Or was I just another piece in his game?
Dawn was gray. Tomoya waited at the station, breath clouding. Mayu appeared, bag clutched tight, dark circles deeper.
Ready?
No turning back now.
The train doors closed. The bag sat on her lap, heavy with a decade of paper and poison. The glass tower of Kento's company loomed like a monument to cold ambition. Tomoya pushed through the revolving doors, Mayu silent behind him. The receptionist glanced up, her smile freezing when she noticed the girl with Tomoya's exact eyes. "Your sister?" she asked, uncertain.
His daughter.
A moment of silence. Then the gate buzzed open. They rode the elevator in thick silence, the bag between them rustling with every floor. Kento looked up from his desk, and the mask shattered instantly. What started as surprise twisted into a venomous glare.
What are you doing here? I didn't send for you.
That's how he looked at Mother. At Mayu, never at me until now. The stranger in my father's skin.
We need to talk. About 10 years of letters, 10 years of calls.
Kento's eyes flickered, just a split-second crack, before his jaw set like steel. The air froze. The twins stood together on one side of the desk, the man who should have been their protector on the other, and the war began.
Your children playing detective. Your mother put you up to this, didn't she?
We have the letters, recordings, 10 years of you manipulating your own daughter.
Mayu's hand was steady as she pressed play. Her father's voice filled the room, slick with false tears.
You're the only one who understands me. Your mother stole everything. Come home to me.
Kento's face twisted, not with shame, but with rage at being cornered. He slammed both palms on the desk.
You think that changes anything? She's here illegally. I'll have immigration here in 10 minutes.
Mayu flinched as if struck. Tomoya felt his body move before he could think, placing himself between them.
Try it. And every recording, every letter goes to your company, your partners, the press.
The room held its breath. The man who taught Tomoya how to tie his shoes was now a viper trapped behind his own desk. The threat was real. He'd rather destroy his daughter than be exposed. The twins' war had just become a hostage standoff.
If you call anyone, I'll send these recordings to your company, your partners, every newspaper that'll listen.
Kento's finger twitched toward the phone, but the threat froze him mid-motion.
You're bluffing. You'd ruin your own family for her?
She is my family. You made me choose, and I choose her.
Get out. I'll think about it. And if you breathe a word of this to anyone...
The glass doors spat them onto the street. Winter wind cut through their uniforms like a blade.
I threatened my own father. My hands won't stop shaking.
Mayu walked beside him, silent tears freezing on her cheeks. She didn't make a sound. The neon lights of the city bled into streaks as they walked, directionless, the weight of the standoff pressing down. They had bought time, but not safety. The Viper was still alive, and they both knew it would strike back. Monday morning arrived like a verdict. Tomoya's stomach dropped when the intercom crackled. "Erika, report to the principal's office immediately." Tomoya bolted after her. The door to the principal's office was open. Inside, Mori-sensei stood beside an officer's uniform.
What's happening? Why is she here alone?
Tomoya, wait outside. We received a formal complaint from your father regarding fraudulent enrollment. This is serious.
He did it. He actually called them. Father didn't just threaten. He struck.
The officer unrolled a copy of the complaint. Document forgery, false identity. Mayu's borrowed name crumbled in that sterile room.
It's not her fault. Our father manipulated her for years. Please, let me explain.
Principal Suzuki removed his glasses, his voice tired but firm. The law is clear. We must suspend her pending investigation.
It's okay, Tomoya. I knew this might happen.
The officer guided her out. Tomoya could only watch as his sister was led through the corridor, her secret now a public tragedy. The hallway felt hollow. Tomoya stumbled to Mori-sensei's empty classroom and collapsed into a chair.
Sensei, listen. She's my twin sister, Mayu. Our father manipulated her for 10 years with letters and calls.
I suspected something was off. Give me the letters and recordings. I'll fight for her.
At home, Tomoya dialed a number he hadn't touched in years. Aki's voice cracked through the speaker. She would fly tonight.
I called Mom. After 10 years of silence, I asked for help. She's really coming.
Daichi arrived that night. They copied every letter, digitized every recording, working through dawn.
I've got a locker at the arcade. We'll stash a drive there. Your father won't find it.
By dawn, the evidence was scattered like buried treasure. Even if Kento burned their apartment, the truth would survive. The police allowed Mayu to await the investigation at Tomoya's house, under supervision. The officer outside was her only shield. For the first time in 10 years, the family's shattered pieces were hurtling together, hinged on a mother's flight landing. At Haneda Airport, Aki stepped off the plane looking older and wearier than Tomoya remembered. Her eyes searched frantically. When she saw Mayu standing beside Tomoya, her composure shattered. She ran forward, empty suitcase forgotten.
Mayu, my baby, my baby.
I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry I ran. I should have trusted you.
Aki pulled back, cupping Mayu's face. Her voice was raw, heavy with years of guilt.
I knew about the letters. I confronted your father years ago, but he denied everything. I couldn't prove it. I kept you in Vancouver to protect you, but the poison still got in. I'm so sorry I couldn't stop it.
Tomoya stepped forward, and for the first time in a decade, the family of three held each other, broken but together. The airport crowd blurred around them. No one mattered but this moment. United, they would face the legal storm ahead, not as victims, but as a family ready to fight. The mediator's office was sterile and cold. Kento entered with polished arrogance, but when his gaze met Aki's, his step faltered.
You flew here to play savior? This is between me and my children.
Not savior. Evidence. This shoebox and recorder tell a 10-year story the court will find fascinating.
The mediator's assistant placed the recorder on the table. Kento's face blanched as his own voice whispered through the room.
This is a setup. She's a liar. She ran away, forged papers.
The mediator, a calm woman, raised a hand. She summarized what everyone now knew: manipulation, fraud, but also a daughter's desperation. A public case will ruin careers and a child's future, the mediator stated. A quiet settlement avoids scandal. Kento tried to resist, but his fingers trembled. He signed the papers: custody to Aki, legal residency for Mayu. His empire shrank to a signature.
I watched the man who raised me crumble. No pity, just relief that we were finally free.
The family walked out together. Aki held Mayu's hand tight. Tomoya glanced back once at the closed door, then never looked again. 3 days later, Mori-sensei stood before the class with a solemn expression. He told them the truth: a family fracture, manipulation, a sister's desperate act. Principal Suzuki had reviewed the settlement. Mayu's suspension would be lifted once paperwork finalized. The class murmured, then a few started to applaud.
You did it. She's really coming back.
I couldn't speak. The knot in my chest that had been there for 10 years finally loosened.
Tomoya, I'm really sorry. I should have trusted you instead of making it weird.
It's okay, you didn't know. None of us did.
We've got your back. Both of you. Now and always.
A strange, tentative peace settled over the classroom. The worst was over, but the healing had just begun. Outside, the cherry blossoms had started to bud. Tomoya looked out the window, thinking of the rooftop where all this began. Soon, she would sit there with him, as herself, as his sister. A month passed. The mediator's signatures sealed a new reality. Aki held custody, and Mayu's right to stay in Japan was law. Kento's professional circle felt the chill. No scandal broke, but colleagues stopped returning calls. His grip loosened. On the morning she would return as herself, Tomoya stood at the school gate, cherry blossoms just beginning to bloom, his pulse loud. She stepped off the bus, uniform pressed, hairpin gleaming, a nervous smile that mirrored his own. They faced each other under the gate, a decade of silence condensed into a single breath.
Welcome back, Mayu.
I'm home, Tomoya.
They walked into the school together, side by side, the hallway no longer a place of hiding but of homecoming. Mori-sensei's voice carried through the room. Class, this is Mayu. She will be joining us as herself from today. Applause rose like a tide. Mayu bowed, hand darting to the jade hairpin. Tomoya clapped, his vision blurring. When the lunch bell rang, Tomoya turned to Mayu's desk. Come on, I want to show you something.
The rooftop. We have a bench up there. It's quiet.
The rooftop. Where I first told you the truth. It feels like a lifetime ago.
They sat on the old bench, bento boxes on their laps. Cherry petals drifted on a breeze. The silence felt heavy and fragile. Mayu set down her chopsticks and unpinned the jade hairpin, placing it on the bench between them.
You kept it. All this time.
Of course. It was the only thing I had that was really mine.
A tiny laugh escaped Tomoya. Mayu blinked, then smiled, a real smile, not the mask she'd worn for weeks. They talked about small things, Daichi's terrible singing, Mori-sensei's chalk dust sneezes. The weight of 10 years didn't disappear, but for a moment, it lifted. For the first time in a decade, they ate lunch as a family. They didn't need to say everything today. They had tomorrow. After school, Tomoya went alone to his father's building. The receptionist didn't meet his eyes. The office was half empty. Rumors of resignation had hollowed the space. Kento sat behind his desk, smaller somehow. Tomoya stood in the doorway. His father looked up. No anger left, only a tired recognition.
I won't forgive you, but I won't let you destroy us anymore.
He didn't wait for a reply. The door clicked shut behind him, sealing a decade of pain into silence. Outside, the city air felt different. A lightness he hadn't expected filled his chest. He didn't look back. Mayu waited by the corner, hands in her blazer pockets, hairpin catching the golden hour.
Everything okay?
It will be. Let's go home.
They walked toward the station, talking about nothing important, stepping into a future no longer haunted by his shadow. Days turned into weeks. The twins found a quiet rhythm, meeting at the gate, sharing lunch, walking home on slow afternoons. One evening they stopped at the riverside. The water glimmered under a golden sky, and the air held the scent of summer approaching. Mayu unclipped the jade hairpin from behind her ear. The clover was worn smooth from years of being touched, held, clung to.
Here. You should have it back. It's yours.
It's yours. It was always yours.
She pinned it back behind her ear, a small smile breaking. They leaned on the railing, watching the river glitter. They talked about the past, not the wounds, but the small memories that still felt warm, and about the future, still taking shape. The jade caught the last light, glowing like a tiny green star, A promise made by a 6-year-old, kept through a decade of silence. Some bonds once carved are never really broken. The next day, spring sunshine flooded the rooftop. Tomoya and Mayu claimed their bench early. Bento boxes already open. Daichi bounded up the stairs, Yui a step behind. He dropped his lunch with a grin. Mind if we crash the twin party?
It's not a party until someone spills tea. Sit down before you knock Yui over.
I brought extra pickled radish. Mayu, you liked them last time, right?
Thank you, Yui. Really, for everything.
They ate, laughed, argued about the best convenience store snacks. The past lingered, a shadow at the edge, but the sun felt stronger now.
Look, Tomoya finally has a twin he can't shake off. Took a decade, but worth it.
Shut up, Daichi, but yeah, worth it.
The rooftop had once been a confessional, a battlefield, a lonely place. Now it echoed with laughter, the kind that stitches together what was torn, and the jade hairpin, still tucked behind her ear, caught the sun like a small, unbreakable promise. One quiet Sunday, Aki suggested they sort through Kento's remaining boxes in the attic. Mayu hesitated, but Tomoya nodded. Inside a sealed envelope labeled Tomoya, "Do not forward," they found letters. Aki's hands began to shake as she read one aloud. "My son, your mother is poisoning your mind. Write to me privately. Someday I will bring Mayu back, but you must trust only me."
He tried to turn me against Mom, too. Letters I never received. He was grooming both of us.
He intercepted my letters to you all those years. I sent photos, updates, he must have destroyed them.
So he didn't just poison me, he built a wall so we'd never compare stories.
He's still out there, but he lost the one thing he wanted most. Us. We're not his pieces anymore.
They placed the letters in a shoebox alongside the others, a new layer of truth, but no longer a weapon. The jade hairpin glinted on Mayu's collar, catching the dusty attic light, a quiet declaration that their bond outweighed any lie. The past wasn't finished, but the future belonged to them now, not to the shadows in sealed envelopes. 2 days later, Mori-sensei pulled Mayu from morning homeroom. His expression was stone, the kind he wore when bad news had arrived.
An anonymous tip was filed yesterday. It questions the validity of your settlement and enrollment. The board is reviewing it.
Father's shadow again. Even from the sidelines, he strikes. I should have known he wouldn't stay quiet.
Tomoya burst into the principal's office without knocking. Principal Suzuki looked up from a file, unsurprised.
You know who sent that tip? We have more evidence now. Letters he meant to send me. It's all part of his pattern.
I believe you, Tomoya. But the board needs proof that the settlement was reached without coercion. Can you provide that?
The mediator's office will confirm it. My mother and I both signed willingly, and after these new letters, anyone can see the truth.
Suzuki leaned back, a slow nod. He scribbled a note and handed it to Mori-sensei. File this with the board, and the original case should speak for itself.
You're not alone in this, but stay alert. People like your father don't disappear. They just change tactics.
Mayu touched the hairpin and exchanged a glance with Tomoya. They had faced the worst, and the worst was still out there. But they would not face it apart. Later that evening, Tomoya's phone buzzed with an unknown number. The preview showed a single line that stopped his breath. "I know you found the letters. They won't save you. Meet me, or I'll make sure Mayu never steps foot in a school again."
He's not waiting for the board. He wants to deal with this personally.
Then we meet him, but not alone. We record everything and let him dig his own grave.
Aki called the mediator. The woman's voice was steady. "If he threatened you, we can get a restraining order." And the tip? It was traced back to his office IP.
His own threat is now evidence. We're not just defending, we're building a case to end this.
They chose a public cafe near the station. The mediator would be at a corner table. Daichi insisted on staking out outside.
One way or another, this ends tomorrow.
The night was cold, but the weight they carried had shifted. They were no longer hunted. They were hunting. The jade hairpin caught the streetlight, a silent promise that whatever happened, they would meet it together. At 10 o'clock, the cafe near the station was nearly empty. Tomoya and Mayu slid into a corner booth, the mediator 2 tables away.
Daichi is outside the bakery across the street. If he signals, we leave.
The door chimed. Kento walked in, scanning the room. When he spotted them, a thin smile spread, never reaching his cold eyes.
I'm a busy man. You have 5 minutes before I leave and send that recording to the board.
We're not negotiating. Your threats end here. The tip was traced back to your office.
The mediator placed a small digital recorder on the table. Kento laughed, a dry, hollow sound, then leaned forward.
You think you're clever? I've been recording since the day you cornered me in my office. Tomoya's words sound a lot like blackmail.
I was protecting my sister after you tried to have her deported. The courts already saw through you.
The school board won't see it that way. I'll have the settlement overturned and you expelled for coercion. Here's a copy. Think fast.
He stood, chair scraping. The door chimed again as he left, the USB drive a small, dark thumb of plastic on the table. The cafe fell silent. Mayu's hand trembled as she reached for the USB drive, her face pale.
He said, it's a recording. What if it's from that day in his office?
The mediator produced a slim laptop. Only one way to find out. Let's see what he's trying to bury you with. The file was titled Blackmail Evidence. A grainy audio played Tomoya's voice, stripped of context. If you call anyone, I'll send these recordings to your company, your partners, every newspaper that'll listen.
He edited it to sound like blackmail. My words, without Mayu's desperation, without his threat.
But we recorded today. He threatened to destroy my enrollment. That's extortion.
The mediator leaned forward. You need to get ahead of this. Go to the board with everything. The letters, today's meeting.
We'll call the lawyer now. Full disclosure. He won't twist the truth while we have the whole picture.
They left the cafe in silence, but the strategy had crystallized. They would fight manipulation with transparency. By noon, they were in the lawyer's office. The mediator had referred them to a sharp-eyed woman who slid the USB into her laptop. The edited recording played first. She paused it, expression unreadable, then played their cafe recording from that morning. This is textbook extortion, the lawyer said. You have grounds to file a criminal complaint, and we should inform the school board immediately. Within an hour, they stood before a police officer, handing over the USB, the cafe recording, and a printed transcript of the father's threat. The officer nodded grimly. We'll open a case. He's been reported before, hasn't he? Tomoya felt a cold thread of hope. The school board had already been contacted by the father's lawyer. An emergency session was called for the next morning. At the meeting, a board member played the father's edited audio. Whispers filled the room. Then the twins' lawyer countered with the full caffeine-ter recording. He threatened to have your student expelled unless she met him alone, the lawyer stated. This is a campaign of intimidation. The board chair raised a hand. Given the seriousness and counter-allegations, this matter requires investigation. Mayu's enrollment will stand pending outcome. Outside the building, a black car idled. The window lowered just enough to show Kento's cold smirk before it glided away. Tomoya's jaw tightened. He's not done. The smirk means he's still playing his game. That night, a new document appeared in the police file. A sworn statement from Kento's former secretary, claiming she witnessed Aki forging evidence.
That's a lie. I never met her. He's paying someone to discredit me.
The lawyer called an hour later. The investigation just got messier. They're reopening the original custody settlement. Your testimony will be critical. The next morning, Principal Suzuki called Tomoya to his office. A reporter from a local paper has been asking questions. I suggest no one speaks to the media. On the rooftop at lunch, Mayu stared at the city skyline. He's trying to drag Mom through the mud. I should just go back to Vancouver.
No. If you leave, he wins. We have to trust the truth. We're not alone, Mayu.
In the library that afternoon, Daichi pulled a stack of newspapers from his locker. That secretary story is already online. Comments are brutal.
But we know who's behind it. The arcade group chat is furious. They want to help. Say the word and we'll drown out the lies.
Mayu touched the hairpin, a glint of defiance returning. They weren't just fighting a father, they were facing a machine, but the jade still held light. By evening, the library turned into a war room. Daichi had roped in 3 friends from the arcade, each with a phone, each with a lead.
One of my guys knows the cousin of that secretary. She swears the woman was at a cafe in Shinjuku, the day she claimed she saw Aki.
If we can prove she wasn't even there, her statement is perjury. That's not just a lie, that's a crime.
The lawyer's eyes widened when Tomoya called. A witness alibi? We file a rebuttal tonight. This could flip the entire narrative. Within an hour, a sworn affidavit from the cafe owner arrived, complete with time-stamped receipts. The secretary's lie crumbled. The next morning, Mori-sensei intercepted them before class. The board saw the rebuttal. They're issuing a statement dismissing the secretary's claim.
It's a crack. Father expected us to fold. Instead, we're exposing him one lie at a time.
But he's desperate now. Desperate people do terrible things. We can't let our guard down.
Later, Tomoya's phone vibrated. A new text from an unknown number. You think you want a round? I still have the original letter. The one with your mother's forgery. The jade hairpin glinted on the desk beside him. A promise made at 6. A war fought at 16. The final round was approaching. Morning broke cold. Tomoya held up his phone to Aki and Mayu, the father's threat glowing like a blade.
He's fabricating evidence. If that letter surfaces, the board will reopen everything.
This is his final card. He wants us to panic. We can't let him control the narrative.
What do we do?
The lawyer's voice came through the speakerphone. A text threatening to plant evidence is witness tampering. We file an immediate report and add it to the criminal complaint.
Then we go to the police. This ends today.
They walked to the station, the jade hairpin clutched in Mayu's palm, a talisman against the cold. Inside, they slid the phone across the counter. The officer read the screen, then looked up, a new hardness in his eyes. This is enough to bring him in for questioning. We'll get a warrant for that alleged letter.
I'll testify, whatever it takes. He won't hurt this family again.
By noon, the warrant was signed. Tomoya stood across the street from his father's office, a police car idling at the curb.
They're going in. I should be in there, watching him face the truth.
But the officer had ordered him to stay clear. Mayu grabbed his sleeve, her nails digging into the fabric. Through the glass lobby, he saw Kento let out in cuffs. For a split second, their eyes met, a transmission of cold fury. 2 hours later, the lawyer called. He posted bail, and the school board is giving a press conference in an hour.
He's going to twist everything. Release that fake letter. We have to get our story out first.
The lawyer's tone was steel. Then you need to go public. Face the cameras and let the world see the truth. Tomoya turned to Mayu. She was already putting on her blazer, hands steady despite the tears welling.
I'll do it. I'll testify on every channel if I have to. He won't bury us.
The news van was already by the gate. Mayu pressed the jade hairpin into his palm, then pinned it on her own collar. They wouldn't face this alone. They stepped through the school gate. A wall of cameras and microphones greeted them, reporters shouting over each other.
This is it. After this, nothing will be private, but if I stay silent, he wins.
We can do this. Just tell the truth, the whole story.
Tomoya stepped to the makeshift podium, the sea of faces watching. A reporter thrust a microphone forward. A woman's voice cut through the noise. Is it true your sister enrolled under a false identity? What do you say to the accusations?
Yes, she used a false identity, but it was an act of survival. Our father manipulated her for 10 years, emotionally abusing her to turn against our mother.
He sent letters for a decade, telling me I was his only hope. When I came to confront him, he tried to have me deported.
Murmurs rippled. Then a man in a dark suit stepped from the crowd, holding a file. He didn't look like a reporter. He raised his voice. I'm from the school board's legal office. I have a court order. This press conference is over, and we have questions about the forged letter.
Father's countermove, of course. He never fights fair. But the truth is already out there. He can't take it back.
The man held up the court order like a shield, forcing the reporters back. This is now a legal matter. Any further statements will be considered obstruction.
We're not running, but my sister is a minor and has been through enough. I'll answer your questions.
Tomoya? No, you don't have to do this alone.
If I go, maybe they'll leave her alone. It's the only way I can protect her.
The board official gestured sharply. An assistant stepped forward to escort Mayu to the principal's office. Tomoya would ride to the district building.
I'm not leaving you, not like this.
I need you to trust me. Go with Mori-sensei. I'll be back.
Mori-sensei emerged from the crowd, gently taking Mayu's arm. He nodded to Tomoya, a silent promise to protect her.
For 10 years I didn't protect her. This time, I won't fail.
The car door shut. Through the window, Mayu pressed her palm against the glass. The jade hairpin caught the light, a tiny beacon as the car pulled away. Tomoya sat in a cold district office, the board official across a steel table. A folder lay open between them. The official tapped the folder. The letter your father claims your mother forged. Experts say the handwriting matches hers.
He actually did it. He fabricated a letter with Mom's handwriting. I have to prove it's a setup. That letter is fake. My father has a history of manipulation. Check the timestamp, compare it to his known letters.
The official slid a phone across the table. Your father is willing to drop all charges if you sign an affidavit admitting to blackmail.
If I sign, Mayu might stay safe, but I'd be branded a criminal. Father wins. No deal. I'll testify under oath. I have a decade of his letters and recordings. Let a court decide.
The official leaned back, a flicker of doubt crossing his face. You're risking expulsion and possibly juvenile detention. Meanwhile, Mayu sat in the principal's office, gripping the jade hairpin. Aki had arrived, her face etched with worry. The hairpin glowed faintly. Somewhere, Tomoya was making the hardest choice of his life for her. The official tapped a button, and a red light blinked on the recorder. Your statement is being recorded. Last chance. The deal expires in 60 seconds.
I've answered already. No deal.
The official closed the folder, his thumb pressing a seal. Then a formal complaint will be filed against you as well. Obstruction of justice. In the principal's office, Mayu suddenly stood. The letter, it was sent to me, but the postmark. I remember it was from a district where Dad's office is, not Mom's.
The timestamp. If we can prove the letter was mailed from his office, it destroys his forgery claim.
The lawyer burst through the district office door, a forensic report in her fist. The paper stock is too modern, manufactured 3 months ago. That letter was created recently. The official's hand froze over the folder. This changes the complexion of the complaint. I need to consult the prosecutor.
A crack. Father's lie is showing, but I'm still on the hook for obstruction. This isn't over.
The official stood, gathering the file. You're not dismissed. We'll reconvene in 1 hour. I suggest you use the time to prepare your defense. The hairpin glinted on the table beside Tomoya, a small emerald star in the cold glare. Mayu must have slipped it into his pocket before the car. The hours stretched. Tomoya sat alone, the jade hairpin warming his palm. He could almost feel Mayu's pulse in it.
She slipped this into my pocket. She knew I'd need a piece of home. I won't let her down.
His phone buzzed. Aki's voice, then Mayu's. Tomoya, the lawyer says the paper evidence proves the letter is fake. We're coming to get you.
I'm okay. The prosecutor is reviewing everything. Tell Mom not to worry. I'll see you soon.
The lawyer re-entered, a thin smile breaking her professional mask. The prosecutor had reviewed the forensic report. The official returned, folder closed. Given the new forensic evidence and your father's history, the obstruction complaint is suspended pending further investigation.
And my sister's enrollment? The forged letter accusation against my mother?
The official met his gaze. Those complaints are under review. Given the pattern, I expect they'll be dropped. You're free to go for now. Tomoya stepped outside to a gray sky, but the air tasted different. Mayu and Aki rushed toward him, tears and laughter. The jade hairpin pressed between them, a bridge across 10 years. The fight wasn't over, but for now, they were together. 2 days later, the school board formally dismissed all complaints against Mayu. Principal Suzuki offered a rare smile as he handed back her enrollment file.
I apologize for the ordeal this school put you through. Your records are clear. Welcome fully, Mayu.
He believed us. After everything, we're not outcasts anymore.
On the rooftop, Daichi and Yui threw a small celebration. Cherry blossoms swirled as they toasted with canned juice.
I told you we'd have your back. Twin party forever.
I can't believe it's really over. No more hiding.
Later, a last text arrived from the unlisted number. You think you've won. I'll wait. I have time. Tomoya deleted it without a word. The next morning, Tomoya and Mayu walked through the school gate under a bright sky. The cherry blossoms were in full bloom.
No more secrets. From now on, we face everything together.
The jade hairpin caught the sun, a small emerald flame. The war wasn't over, but for now they had won. A week after the board's decision, a thick envelope arrived from the family court. Kento was petitioning to overturn custody, citing parental alienation.
He's alleging I poisoned your minds. He wants a full custody hearing and psychological evaluations.
He's forcing us into a public trial. Our entire family history dissected by strangers.
If we don't go, he wins by default. I'll testify. Face that cross-examination.
The lawyer's voice came through the speakerphone. The court will examine your actions under a microscope. Are you prepared for that?
We've been through worse. We'll put every letter, every recording on the record.
He's counting on us to break. But we've survived 10 years of his manipulation. This is just the last battle.
Tomoya's hand closed around the jade hairpin. The choice was made. They would walk into the courtroom and let the truth, however brutal, speak. In the lawyer's office, they signed the response. The trial date was set for 2 months, the calm before the storm. The jade hairpin rested atop the stack of papers, a fragile clover against the weight of the law. The 2 months crept by. Each day, Tomoya and Mayu studied the letters as if memorizing a battlefield map.
His lawyer filed a motion to subpoena our school records. They want to prove instability.
Then they'll see our grades haven't dropped, and we've had support from teachers and friends. It backfires on him.
Mori-sensei submitted a formal letter to the court, describing their resilience. Daichi and Yui also prepared statements. The day before the hearing, Tomoya found Mayu on the rooftop, staring at the city. Her knuckles were white on the railing.
I keep thinking, what if the judge believes him? What if I have to go back?
Then we appeal, we run, we do whatever it takes. But I believe the truth will hold. It has so far.
The next morning, they dressed in formal clothes. Aki smoothing Tomoya's collar, Mayu pinning the jade hairpin with extra care. The family courthouse loomed, gray and indifferent. Daichi and Yui waited outside to offer a silent salute. Mayu touched the hairpin, and Tomoya nodded. Together, they pushed open the heavy doors and stepped into the arena. Inside the courtroom, the air was still as a held breath. Aki, Tomoya, and Mayu sat rigid on one side. Kento entered with a polished lawyer, his eyes scanning coldly. Kento's lawyer argued parental alienation, brandishing the intercepted letters as a father's affection. Tomoya's fists clenched.
He's twisting everything. Those weren't letters of love. They were poison designed to isolate her.
Aki's lawyer rose, placing a small digital recorder on the table. Kento's voice echoed through the silent room. Your mother stole everything. Mayu took the stand, her voice steady as she testified. She described 10 years of emotional manipulation, the letters, the calls.
He told me I was his only hope. When I refused to be his weapon, he tried to have me deported.
Tomoya submitted the letters intended for him. Envelopes marked "Do Not Forward." Each word a testament to Kento's scheme to poison him. The judge read the forensic report on the forged letter. She set it down slowly, then looked at Kento over her glasses. Custody remains with Aki. The petition is dismissed with prejudice. The gavel struck. Outside the courthouse, they finally exhaled. Mayu pressed the hairpin into Tomoya's hand, and he held it tight, a promise, finally kept. 2 weeks later, Kento's embezzlement charges, uncovered during the custody investigation, led to a suspended sentence and a ruined career. He left Tokyo without a word.
Father's gone, not jail but exile. Somehow that feels final.
At school, the cherry blossoms had fallen, replaced by summer green. Tomoya and Mayu walked the halls, no longer hiding.
Morning? Twin squad? Rooftop lunch?
You're paying for snacks today, Daichi.
On the rooftop, the four of them settled into their usual spots. The bench creaked, familiar and worn.
I used to dream about this, sitting here with all of you like a normal student.
Normal. That word used to feel like a fantasy. Now it's just our life.
The jade hairpin caught the sun, throwing tiny green sparks on the wooden planks. A year ago, they were strangers. Now, they were family not just by blood, but by choice, by survival. The war was over. The peace had begun. Weeks passed. Summer deepened, the heat softening the edges of memory. Tomoya and Mayu settled into the rhythm of ordinary days.
Sometimes I still catch myself looking over my shoulder. Then I remember he's really gone.
I know, but we're not waiting for him anymore. We're just living.
One evening, Aki found an old photograph in a box. The twins at age 4, holding hands under a cherry tree, the hairpin already in Mayu's hair.
Even then, you two were inseparable. That little hairpin, it was always a part of you both.
Some things don't change, even when we thought everything had.
The next day on the rooftop, Daichi announced he'd joined the photography club. Yui volunteered to be his first subject.
Smile. This is going in the yearbook as the twin squad. Official photo.
Later, Tomoya and Mayu walked home, the city lights flickering on. He nudged her shoulder. She nudged back. The jade hairpin glimmered in the twilight, a borrowed pendant, an ancient promise, worn smooth by 10 years and still holding. Autumn arrived, painting the schoolyard in amber and crimson. Tomoya and Mayu walked to class together, a rhythm so natural it felt everlasting.
A year ago, I didn't even know she was alive. Now I can't imagine a day without her.
Oi, Tomoya. We're organizing a culture festival booth. You and Mayu are in charge of the onigiri stall.
Onigiri, you just want free snacks.
The culture festival booth buzzed with laughter. Mayu shaped rice balls, her fingers precise, while Tomoya wrapped them. Daichi stole samples. Yui smacked his hand.
Tomoya, your wrapping is terrible. It looks like a lumpy star.
It's artistic. You wouldn't understand.
The jade hairpin glowed as the evening lanterns lit the stall. Passers-by noticed it, some commenting on its simple beauty. After the festival, they walked home under a sky full of stars. Mayu unpinned the hairpin and held it to the starlight.
A 6-year-old's promise. It's strange how something so small held everything together.
It held us together, Mayu. When we had nothing else, that little clover reminded us we weren't alone.
They stood in the quiet street, the city humming around them. Mayu pinned the hairpin back behind her ear, a ritual now familiar. A few days later, Mori-sensei called them to the empty classroom. He held a thick envelope with an official seal.
The district board has approved a new scholarship for students in exceptional circumstances. It covers everything: university prep, living costs. I nominated you both. The board agreed. You deserve a future without financial fear.
A scholarship for both of us. After everything, the future just opened wide.
On the rooftop, Daichi and Yui erupted in cheers. Daichi demanded a celebration at the arcade. Yui already planned the cake.
You guys, I don't know how to thank you.
That evening, Tomoya and Mayu walked home slowly, the envelope between them. The weight of the future felt lighter now. The jade hairpin glowed in the last light. A promise carved at 6 had become the foundation of a new life. Winter arrived quietly, dusting the schoolyard with frost. Tomoya and Mayu stood by the gate, breath misting as they watched the sunrise.
It's been a year since I walked through these gates as Erica. I was so scared that day.
And now you're just Mayu, loud, annoying, and the only twin I'd ever want.
Oi, lovebirds. Save the sappy stuff for the graduation speech. We've got hot chocolate in the clubroom.
They squeezed into the photography club's tiny room, the 5 of them, Mori-sensei included, toasting with mismatched mugs.
I want a photo of the twin squad before graduation. Mayu, wear the hairpin front and center.
Later, Aki framed the photo, the 5 of them on the rooftop, cherry blossoms long gone, but the warmth of the memory permanent. The jade hairpin rested on the mantelpiece beside it, finally at peace. Its journey from a child's hand to a courthouse to this quiet home was complete.
10 years of silence, a war we never asked for, and a promise carved in jade. We're still here.
Snow began to fall as they walked into the new year. The city blurred into a quiet white, and Tomoya reached for Mayu's hand, just to make sure she was real. As winter melted into spring, the final term of their second year slipped away. Graduation loomed, but the weight of it felt different now.
I used to think graduation meant leaving again, but this time, it's just another door.
She's not leaving. We're both stepping forward. Together.
On the day of the closing ceremony, cherry blossoms returned, bright against the blue. The rooftop bench was their seat of honor.
All right, twin squad. Best seat in the house. Next year will be 3rd years, so enjoy the view while you can.
I never thought I'd make it here, but I did. We did.
The future was still uncertain, but for the first time, that felt like a gift, not a threat.
After the ceremony, they walked through the school gate one last time as second years. The hairpin sparkled on Mayu's collar. A new chapter waited, but the pages were blank, theirs to write. The promise carved 10 years ago had carried them across oceans and courtrooms. Now it rested at home. One evening in late spring, they walked the riverside path. The sun melted into the water, spilling gold and rose.
Do you ever wonder what this hairpin really is? It's just a carved stone, but it's so much more.
It's a promise I made when I didn't know what promises cost, and you carried it through everything.
They leaned against the railing where they once had stood as strangers, relearning each other's faces. Mayu unclipped the jade clover and held it up to the fading light. It glowed, a tiny green star that had witnessed a war and survived.
It brought you back. I'll spend the rest of my life being grateful for that.
It didn't bring me back. It brought me home.
The hairpin had traveled farther than most heirlooms across an ocean, through courtrooms, into the quiet of a spring dusk. But in the end, the stone was only a vessel. What truly held them was the promise it carried, carved by a child, kept by a survivor. They remained at the riverside as the last light slipped below the horizon. The city lights began to flicker like grounded stars.
I used to think silence meant absence. Now I know it can mean peace.
The hairpin, now pinned back behind her ear, caught the faint glow. It had become more than a keepsake. It was a scar transformed into a star. They walked home together, as they would for many evenings to come. Not because they had to, but because they chose to. Aki waited at the door, a habit she never lost. She still looked at them as if they might vanish, but each day her smile grew a little steadier. The jade clover rested on the mantelpiece that night, as it often did now. Home didn't need to be carried everywhere. It was simply where they were. The rooftop, the riverside, the courthouse, the airport, all those places were now memories layered into the stone.
We never got to be ordinary twins, but ordinary would have missed this.
The promise carved a decade ago had carried them across oceans, courtrooms, and silence. Now it could rest, and beyond the next sunrise, a new chapter waited, blank, theirs, and finally free. The first day of their 3rd year arrived bright and warm. Cherry blossoms lingered, refusing to fall.
No more fake names. No more hiding. Just us.
Just us. She says it like it's simple. After everything, maybe it finally is.
Oi, twin squad. First day assembly is starting. Are you two going to stand there all day?
I saved seats in the back. And Mayu, your hairpin is glowing today.
They walked into the school together, friends, family, survivors. The hallway held no shadows now. The jade hairpin caught the sun, A familiar glint. Not a secret. A signature.
10 years apart, a war for the truth, and a promise carved in jade. It was worth every scar.
The hairpin had been a secret, a shield, a beacon. Now it was simply a part of her and a part of him. And the new chapter they had waited for was no longer waiting. It was here. After school, they returned to the rooftop bench by habit. The city sprawled below, indifferent to wars won and lost.
I used to think this hairpin was a burden. Now it's just mine, a part of our story.
A story we'll keep telling, not as a tragedy, but as proof that some bonds survive anything.
The jade clover glinted between them, catching the last sun. It had been a gift, a promise, an anchor. Now it was simply a treasure, a small green star that had guided them home. They walked down the stairs together, footsteps synchronized. Some things didn't need words anymore. The jade hairpin rested against her collar, exactly where it had always been, where it would always be.
10 years of silence, a war for the truth, all of it, worth it.
And beyond the gate, the future stretched wide. Not a battlefield, but a place of quiet dawns and shared lunches. Some bonds once carved are never really broken.